It's December 31st, last day of the year, and we're bringing you a roundup of all the major events through the year. We spoke about wars and also about elections in the last episode. In this episode, we'll talk about all the major events. Donald Trump reclaimed the most powerful position in the world. Wars that had started earlier got more intense and new conflicts started, while sports and cinema brought the world together. As 2024 comes to an end, we take you through the key global events this year and what it means for the future of global politics. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. The year began on a high for regional organizations, especially the BRICS, which added 5 more nations from Africa and West Asia to its fold. Egypt, Iran, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Ethiopia formally became members of an ever-expanding and now more representative BRICS. In its quest for creative space for developing nations at the international table, BRICS has become a force to reckon with. BRICS also has a large number of partner states and several more applicants for membership. This loose bloc of non-Western economies is not to be taken lightly. With strong economic and demographic heft, BRICS is uniquely placed to ensure representation and influence in important geopolitical matters, including the war in West Asia. The 16th annual BRICS summit in Kazan in October under Russian leadership gave the world a peek into BRICS aspirations, especially about financial independence vis-à-vis the US dollar.
Но увеличение расчетов в местных валютах позволяет снизить оплату за обслуживание долга, повысить независимость финансовых стран-участниц БРИКС, ну и максимально снизить геополитические риски, избавить, насколько это возможно в сегодняшнем мире, развитие экономики от политики.
On February 16th, Alexei Navalny, 47-year-old blogger and Vladimir Putin's most formidable domestic critic and opponent, died mysteriously in the Siberian penal colony, where he was serving a politically motivated 3-decade sentence. It was reported that Navalny was taking a walk in the colony, felt unwell, collapsed, and then never regained consciousness. Attempts at resuscitation also failed. Authorities at the prison said that he suffered sudden death syndrome. Eventual reports, however, indicated otherwise. He had earlier survived poisoning attempts, and prior to his arrest in 2021, he had spent months recovering from a Soviet-era Novichok nerve agent attack. The founder of the Anti-Corruption Foundation and leader of the Russia of the Future Party was a powerful voice even from inside the prison. He and his group had exposed corruption in the Russian state and had often targeted Putin himself. Curiously, Navalny had seemed to be in good spirits and held in a court video a day before his death.
The Secretary General is shocked by the reported death in detention of opposition figure Alexei Navalny. The Secretary General expresses his condolences to Mr. Navalny's family and calls for a full, credible, and transparent investigation into the circumstances of Mr. Navalny's reported death in custody.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine had some historical external consequences as well. Sweden abandoned its 200-year-old policy of neutrality and joined NATO as its 32nd member. After 2 years of tireless diplomacy by NATO members, Sweden finally became a part of the NATO bloc, something that was not even conceivable a little over 2 years ago. US President Joe Biden said that Sweden's inclusion made the bloc more united, determined, and dynamic than ever, and able to stand for freedom and democracy for generations to come. There is little doubt that this NATO expansion, which started by Finland's joining in 2023, was not received well by Russia. April marked a shift in power in South Korea, with the country's liberal opposition scoring a landslide victory in parliamentary elections, dealing a resounding blow to President Yoon Suk-yeol and his Conservative Party. The Democratic Party and Democratic Alliance emerged victorious with 176 seats, 68 seats more than President Yoon's People Power and its partner People Future. Even though the Liberal opposition fell short of a supermajority, the election results were perceived as a referendum on Yoon, his policies, and political scandals. South Korea continues to remain in the throes of political turmoil after an ill-advised declaration of martial law which he withdrew within hours, Yoon was impeached by the National Assembly. For now, Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok is the acting president and has pledged to do all he can to end the country's political turmoil. On the 19th of May, Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi and Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahian, along with 6 other passengers and crew, were killed in a helicopter crash near Jolfa, close to the Azerbaijan-Iran border. The president was in Azerbaijan to inaugurate a dam with the country's president Ilham Aliyev, despite chilly relations between the two countries. The Iranian media blamed bad weather for the unfortunate incident. The hardliner protege of Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei had come to power in 2021 with the lowest voter turnout in Iran's electoral history. Under his leadership, Iran saw raging mass protests, the most recent involving the death of Mahsa Amini in detention in 2022. The months-long crackdown killed over 500 people and more than 22,000 were detained. In a surprising turn of events, reformist Masoud Pezeshkian defeated hardliner Ali Jalili to win the presidential elections. Nevertheless, real decision-making power, including foreign policy, remains with the supreme leader. More than 1,300 people died due to extreme heat conditions during the annual Hajj pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia's Makkah. Of the casualties, Egyptians accounted for 658 deaths, 630 of them unregistered pilgrims. Saudi officials indicated that most of those who died did not have official permits, walked long distances in direct sunlight without adequate shelter or food. Hajj is one of the 5 pillars of Islam that all Muslims with means must complete at least once in their lives. Saudi Health Minister Fahd al-Jalajal described the management of the pilgrimage, which saw participation by 1.8 million pilgrims this year, as successful. In what may be termed a happy ending to a long and tumultuous journey and a criminal case of international intrigue, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange finally returned home to Australia after 5 years of incarceration in the United Kingdom. He pleaded guilty to a single criminal count of conspiring to disclose classified U.S. national defense documents at a U.S. district court, Northern Mariana Islands, which is part of the American Commonwealth in the Pacific and is close to Australia. From there, he took a flight home and received an ecstatic welcome by his family and supporters. With this, the long-drawn legal saga also came to a surprisingly abrupt end.
It took millions of people. It took people working behind the scenes, people protesting on the streets for days and weeks and months and years. And we achieved it.
In June, NASA's much-anticipated Starliner mission faced significant hurdles. Seasoned astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams were tasked with a test flight to the International Space Station aboard Boeing's Starliner capsule. Initially, the mission was meant to be a week-long journey, but issues emerged shortly after docking. Multiple thrusters on the capsule malfunctioned, and engineers discovered helium leaks in the propellant system. The complications prompted NASA to delay the astronauts' return. After the ongoing attempts to resolve the issues, it was decided that the astronauts would remain on the ISS until February 2025, awaiting a safe return aboard a SpaceX capsule. Despite the setback, the mission highlighted the challenges Boeing faces as it works to finalize the spacecraft's design. The crew is celebrating Christmas and New Year in space. In another monumental development, 2024 saw the biggest prisoner exchange between Russia and the West since the Cold War. A total of 24 individuals were released, with 16 Americans and Europeans freed in exchange for 8 Russian prisoners. Among those returning to the US was Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich. The exchange, which had been more than 18 months in the making, was a complex geopolitical maneuver. The deal also involved the release of Vadim Krasikov, a Russian assassin serving life sentence in Germany. This exchange, conducted at Ankara airport, was seen as a major diplomatic event, highlighting the delicate balance of international relations during an ongoing conflict between Russia and the West. Turning to France, Prime Minister Michel Barnier's government faced a dramatic collapse in 2024. Just 3 months into his tenure, Barnier's minority government lost a no-confidence vote in the French National Assembly. A total of 331 MPs voted to oust Barnier, surpassing the necessary 288 votes. The motion was spearheaded by the left-wing NFP alliance and backed unexpectedly by Marine Le Pen's far-right bloc. Barnier's administration became the shortest-lived in the history of the Fifth Republic. This political upheaval came as a result of tensions surrounding the government's proposed austerity budget for the coming year. French President Emmanuel Macron now faces the daunting task of selecting a new prime minister while navigating the ongoing political crisis. In Syria, December 2024 marked the end of an era. After nearly 14 years of civil war, President Bashar al-Assad's regime finally crumbled. His fall brought an end to the Assad family's almost 54-year rule over Syria. Assad, who initially appeared to be a reformist leader in 2000, turned to violent repression when protests erupted in 2011. While Assad lost control over parts of Syria during the civil war, he regained control over most parts in recent years. But the lack of a clear successor threw the country into uncertainty. With no clear path forward, Syria's future now remains precarious, especially given the ongoing foreign influence in the region. On a much more uplifting note, India saw one of its brightest young stars rise to the pinnacle of international sports. In a thrilling match held in Singapore, 18-year-old Gukesh Dommaraju defeated defending champion Ding Liren to become the youngest ever world chess champion. Gukesh, who became a grandmaster at just 12, had always dreamed of this moment since he was a child. His dramatic victory in the final game of the 14-match series was a testament to his talent and perseverance. Gukesh's win not only made history by surpassing Garry Kasparov's record, but also solidified India's dominance in the world of chess, particularly after the country's success in the recent Olympiads. As we look back on 2024, it is clear that this year was one of pivotal moments that reshaped nations, brought new leaders to the forefront, and witnessed both setbacks and triumphs on the world stage. From political crises to extraordinary personal achievements, this year has been a testament to the resilience and challenges that the countries across the world have faced. As we step into 2025, we can only anticipate what the next year will bring. Thank you for joining us in the special year-end recap. It's a very, very happy new year from the India Today Global team. Stay tuned as we continue to cover all the major events as they unfold in the coming year. Goodbye and take care.